Good morning. Let's be silent before God. Just for a moment, let us go beyond and before the Big Bang in our imagination. Let's go back to before there were stars and starlight, before there were any creations including angels, before man, before planets. Go with me into that point of nothingness. Now, when I say nothingness, I'm not talking about some presence being absent. No, 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 that's not what I'm saying. When I say nothingness, a better way of translating it would be no thing, no other thing, except infinite awareness, infinite consciousness. Now step in your imagination with me into that presence, that eternal presence that has not yet formed itself as mind or body, as angel or man, but it simply is. Let us relax in the isness of God and just commune with Him silently, sacredly. Let's just visit with Him as if we were holding the hand of our mother. No words need to be spoken. No ideas need to be expressed. You're in the presence of your mother. Such love, such infinite love and infinite peace. Beyond all human description. You were there at that point before the Big Bang, before the angels, before the stars, before the first thought was ever thought, or the first word was ever spoken. And you rest in that aloneness, that intimate privacy. You and your Creator. Totally alone, nothing else. No time, no space, no stars, no angels, no men, no words, no thoughts. An infinite silence, an infinite emptiness, but that's the wrong word. You know that there is an infinite presence there. The emptiness is that there is no formation. There's no idol for you to behold. There's no personality for you to bow down to. There's nothing. History hasn't begun yet. And you know that there is one infinite urge or impulse in this state of holy communion. And it is the impulse to express itself. And now the words come. Let there be light. And you behold yourself as infinite light, warm, loving, like a warm blanket, only spreading out beyond time and space in infinite warmth, like the warmth you feel in the womb of a mother before coming into human birth. Total security, total peace, total communion. Just you and your Creator joined, bone of bone, flesh of flesh, spiritually speaking. No place where you end and he begins, or he begins and you end. You are one, as the wave connects to the ocean, as the mahogany connects to the piano, as the facet of the diamond connects to the diamond, as the gold becomes the ring. One, just in different form. And the first form that you take are the words, "Let there be light." And now you see an infinity of light all around you. You're still alone, but never lonely. You're self-complete. You have no enemies, either man or angel. There is no sin. It's not even invented yet. There's no sickness, no disease, no death. This is what it was like before the so-called fall of man. This is the Garden of Eden, the lost garden that is only one step away from you being able to enter it fully and completely. One small step away before you can land on a spiritual moon the way Neil Armstrong landed on the physical moon. This is one small step for a man, one giant step for mankind. What is that small step? It's so simple that it will astound you. It's not profound. Even a child can understand that step. Using your God-given imagination, here is the step that you must take. At first by faith, and then by direct experience, you'll know that you're moving in the correct direction. That step is to realize that God is love, infinite, everywhere present love, and that in him there is nothing that can create or is capable of creating an imperfect form. Behold the universe as the stars condense out of this infinite light. The planets begin to revolve in their perfect harmony. Everything in and through God under perfect control. No imperfection whatsoever. The small step is to know that the Creator is perfect. He never makes mistakes. He never has to try a second time to create a race of beings. Adam and Eve are formed out of the consciousness of God, male and female formed, perfect in every way. Their bodies, which are very real, are eternal and indestructible. They live in a garden of consciousness in which everything is supplied to them before they even know they need it. The seed is already planted in the ground and already grown into full fruit for their consumption. They do not have to work or labor in the physical world. All they have to do is commune with God. And every form and everything for their happiness and eternal bliss is provided for them before they even know that they need it. Before they call, I have already answered. At first, this step is a step of faith. But then as you experience this Garden of Eden in your consciousness, this faith becomes experience. You walk through life carrying the consciousness of the garden within you. There are no devils in this garden, no enemies, no sin, sickness, disease, death, lack, or limitation of any name or nature. There is simply perfection. How many of you say, well, Richard, that's all pretty words? And they may even be true, but when I look at my world, I see sin, sickness, disease, death, lack, and limitation. As I read in the Bible about demons and demon possession, I see Jesus casting demons out. I read in the theology books about the burning hell that all those who don't know Jesus are going to inhabit for all eternity. I read about the lake of fire and the white throne judgment for all those who have not acknowledged the supreme rule of the Lord Jesus Christ. I rule and reign with him over lesser beings for all eternity. And I bind the devil and his angels in a place called hell, where they can never disturb my peace again. This is the theology that has ruled the church for 2,000 years. The rapture, the second coming of Jesus Christ, the tribulation, the battle of Armageddon, the 1,000-year reign, the white throne judgment, the creation of an eternal heaven and an eternal hell, and only those who are privileged to know the name of Jesus and to know who Jesus is are allowed to rule and reign supreme in this kingdom. That replaces your thought of the garden. That interferes with your communication with truth, peace, wholeness, and perfection that exist infinitely and always has existed. That is the hypnosis of your enemy. And yes, you have spiritual enemies. That is the hypnosis of your spiritual enemy, Lucifer, now known as Satan, who wants you to believe in that kind of a Jesus. Let me tell you who Jesus is. For my friends in metaphysics, he doesn't puff his name up. You teach him personalization and how important it is not to worship personalities. He was the one that taught you that. When you called him God, he said, "There's none good but God. Don't call me that. And yet I and the Father are one. He who sees me sees the Father, but the Father is greater than I am. Our Creator is greater than I am." He goes about doing good wherever he goes. To the paralytic he says, "Rise, take up your bed and walk. What's hindering you?" To the blind man he puts a little spit on his eyes, and the blind man can see. He's walking on the water during a storm. Peter, a mere human, gets out of the boat and actually walks for a while until he takes his eyes off Jesus and focuses on the waves below. Jesus grabs him by the hand. "Peter, where is your faith?" and walks him back to the boat. This Jesus is the walking Garden of Eden. When tempted by Satan, he resists, not physically but spiritually. He says, "Get thee behind me, Satan. There is no power or presence that separates me from my God and my good. There is no power in earth, beneath the earth, in hell, or in heaven that can separate me from the love of my Father, which is expressing itself as me, and it is infinite. Therefore your hypnotic suggestions fall as meaningless images without the law of God to support them or the love of God to sustain them. They vanish like clouds on a hot summer day. The sun burns them away, and nothing remains but reality. Unchanging reality, unchanging love, unchanging perfection, unchanging, infinite, eternal, perfect life, unchanging, perfect forms, glorified bodies that are not subject to sin, disease, old age, or limitation. Bodies that can travel faster than the speed of light. Bodies that are indestructible. Bodies that existed before the fall or the hypnotic effect of believing otherwise. The God who is capable of creating and sustaining an entire universe, and there are many others, has within its power, his power, her power, whatever gender you want to give it, only one ability, and that's the ability to be perfect and to create perfection. Nothing else can exist except this perfection, unless through the process of hypnosis you are caused to believe that it exists. If you go to a auditorium where the hypnotist is on the stage, you can see the power of hypnosis and that people are made to believe they're rabbits, dogs, animals. And no matter how much while they're in the hypnotized state you tell them that they're still human, they believe and act as if they're animals. Such is the ease by which man can be deceived. Investments are presented to him in such attractive form that he thinks that he can't go wrong. He's hypnotized into believing that he's going to make that million or two. He doesn't see the negative side. He's hypnotized and makes a wrong choice. Hypnosis. The first step is to realize that if you look upon anything in this world, this hypnotic world, you have to see it as it really is, as God always has created it, and that is perfect. So when blindness, decay, sin, old age, death, poverty, war knock on your door, recognize it as illusion, flickering lights on a movie screen. When false theology presents itself to you, rapture, 7-year tribulation, battle of Armageddon, earthquakes, a third of mankind dying, people's flesh melting in nuclear light and fire, 1,000-year millennial reign where Ezekiel's temple is rebuilt and animal sacrifice reinstituted, the end of the 1,000 years, the white throne judgment where those who've not accepted my beautiful son Jesus, not that he really needs your worship, he needs nothing, he is everything, he has all, but for some reason you think he needs your worship and his name has to be lifted up and his blood sacrifice, oh, that let's go talk about that. That he had to pay me in blood for me to set the guilty man free. False theology. All hypnotic suggestion designed to do one thing and one thing only, to separate you from the good that already is planted within you, from the Son of God and all that he already possesses in heaven, on earth, and beneath the earth, and through the whole universe. All these things have already been given to you. A perfect, eternal, glorified body already yours. No need for a rapture. A mind that knows nothing but good, not a mind divided into good and evil, a mind that knows nothing but good. A mind that can travel with me before the Big Bang. And now let's return to where we were in the beginning. We're going to go before the beginning now. That's where you need to be, not before, not at the beginning, not at the bang, but before the bang. And go back with me into that infinite peace, that infinite presence, that infinite love, before all words and thoughts, before all personalities, principles, and powers. Go with me alone now before all forms and formations, and tell me if you can see anything there in me that is not perfect, that is not loving. Thank you.